I feel an old Negro rant coming on, and I didn't expect to do one quite this soon because I try to space my rants out far and few between. One earlier in the channel, probably did more of it because I really hadn't spoken on a lot of things, but I feel one coming on. Now, this one is inspired by Kevin Samuels. Normally, Kevin Samuels doesn't email me about a particular YouTuber unless something has actually caught his ire or actually struck him in a way that he doesn't like. And normally if he asks me, had I heard of somebody, I say yes or no or whatever, and that's that. But he kept emailing me about this one. And he emailed me a video of this particular person. And I thought it was quite unusual until I listened to it, then I understood. Now, he asked me about Cynthia G and how come I've never responded to her or never had a conversation with her is because personally, I think Cynthia G is not authentic. She's fake in my estimation. I've been in the conscious community for about over 30 years. And I know a real one when I hear one. I know a real one when I see one. She's not. So since I don't think she's genuine, I don't think what she has to say is authentic. I've never responded to her, gave her any shine, or even thought about it. Because to me, Cynthia G is she's a YouTuber. She's there for entertainment. And I don't do response videos to people that are entertainment. Like Tommy Sotomayor. I listen to Tommy Sotomayor. I actually like Tommy Sotomayor. I've never responded to him because I think Tommy Sotomayor is there for entertainment more than anything else. So if I don't think somebody's out there as a pundit trying to really change things, then I don't really respond to them. So that's why I've never responded to Cynthia G. But as Kevin said, she might have opened the door. She had opened the door for me to actually say something to her. And until I listened to her video, I didn't get it. Now, the video, unlike many videos on this particular subject, probably going back 10 years, it's probably one of the things that she started the gender wars, which I think she's trying to reignite, even though the environment won't allow it, is should Black women respect Black men? Basic question. Short answer is yes. Should Black men respect Black women? Short answer is yes. And that is not the question. Really, the answer is, she was saying that Black women do not respect Black men. That's what she was saying. And the question she was really asking is, why should Black women respect Black men? Not if, not should they. She's saying, why should Black women respect Black men? Because they don't. And she's going through the rigmarole about being online, seeing videos, hearing other Black YouTubers talk about the fact that Black women don't respect their men, which is absolutely true. They don't. And the reason that the Black YouTubers talk about it is because 99.99% of Black women won't admit it. So the Black men that see this, feel this, experience this from their women on a continuous basis, no matter what they're doing. And it really doesn't matter whether he's the homeless dude on the street or Barack Obama, because you can see there's an underlying sense of contempt for Black men, period, no matter what position they're in. Doesn't matter what your accomplishments are. Doesn't matter. So even though she says there's a few, but as a collective, the underlying sentiment of Black women is, one, they don't respect them, and two, they have contempt for them, which is something that Patrick Moynihan said back in 1965, 53 years ago. Patrick Moynihan said exactly the same thing. And he was drawing on information that was 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. Even when we were building Black Wall Street, it was still there. Now, what Cynthia G wants us to do is jump through hoops. They want us to show receipts that we paid for respect, doggone it. And we're going to show our receipts. All of a sudden, Black women are going to respect this and show less contempt for us. And that's what she wants. She wants the intellectual. She doesn't really want an intellectual debate or intellectual discussion. She wants us to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt to all black women, these are the reasons why we should respect you. That we're showing you respect, we're protecting you, we're fighting white supremacy, as she puts it, in whatever way she says we should fight white supremacy. We're actually building and going against everybody else in the world, just like other races of men, building and kicking ass and taking names. And then, only then will we get the respect of black women. And she says that when she compares us to other races of men, we're lacking. Really, really, really. So planet-wide, black men are the only race of men that are lacking and haven't done anything. Really. Cynthia G, how about the 3 billion people? Actually, it's 4 billion people that don't even have running water or toilets. Are we compared to those races of men? Are the races of men that are destitute and are oppressed and are under siege, like the favelas down in Brazil? You're talking about those races of men, or most Indian men in India? I'm not talking about the ones here, the top 1% that actually make it to these shores. Talking about the other 99% in India. You know, the 1.2 billion that are still there in India that are dirt poor. They can barely take care of their families. Talking about those races of men. They can't dig out against their own government and make it better. Talking about them. When you talk about a narrow scope of the United States under white supremacy as you see it, do you want us to wear the white feather of courage and sacrifice ourselves again, because we've done it in the past, again, with our blood, so that you can be respected, or you can see us with respect? Now, the second part is, and I'm going to answer questions before I actually get into my rant. The second part is, she says respect is a two-way street. And to her observation, other men respect their women a lot more, or show respect to their women a lot more, because that's what she sees. Or because evidently they give their women wealth and material, or they show a certain kind of behavior in public that she sees. And all of a sudden, that means they are in their house, they are treated better. And maybe for the upper echelon of white women, that is probably true. The thing is, Cynthia G, you don't read your own literature. There's 2 very good books called The Richer Sex, which is the one I would highly suggest first, and The End of Men, written by 2 staunch down hardcore feminists that talked about white families and other kind of families, and talking about the mix of breadwinning women and that kind of stuff. Okay, that's what basically the books were actually talking about. How do feminists want basically assume control of their families because they're actually making more money? And how do you get along with your man? White men. But the interesting thing, especially in the Richer Sex, Liz Mundy found out the most compliant, agreeable, well-mannered, respectful man to their women were black men. Respectful men to their women were black men. In fact, she said that black men were the ideal mate, especially for well-educated women. 3 reasons she basically said. 1, that you can negotiate with him. 2, he actually does have respects and loves his own women and will do anything in his power to actually be with his woman and keep his woman. He's willing to comply. 3, that he doesn't have any rigid patriarchal standards. Unfortunately, that could be an upside or a downside, that allows flexibility in the home. That has been that way for 150 years. Between black men and women, there's always been a negotiation. It hasn't been that way for white women and white men. In fact, it's never been that way for white women and white men. White women had to fight for what black women get automatically. And that's probably the problem. Black women have never had to fight for respect in her own family. Black women have never had to fight to negotiate with her man. Black women automatically assumes that she has ownership of her man and should have the undying fealty. And I think it's not about respect that Black women want. I think it's fealty. They want us to be prone and worship Black women. Black women don't want to be respected. They want to be worshiped. Let's keep it a buck. If other races of women were taking white men, the white men that white women wanted, they wouldn't just complain, they compete. They would actually get out there and adapt themselves. In fact, I was just talking to a professor, and this professor teaches a Black masculinities class at a certain college. I won't mention his name. If you really wanted to know who he is, you can probably find out on your own. I was talking to him, and he told me something very interesting. First, when I wasn't shocked, there's two things he told me that were very interesting. First thing, I wasn't shocked. He said that class was 90% female. And I assume they were in there because they wanted a grade, because it's African American studies, which are Black females. What he told me is that there are more white women in his class than Black men, which struck me as odd. I asked him, why are there more white women than Black men? Why are white women at a Black masculinity studies class at all? He said it wasn't about the grade. It was about white women that wanted to date Black men or were dating Black men, and they were serious about it, and they wanted to do everything they could to understand that man. They were willing to go to a class, be uncomfortable, to find out about the men that they were with, because they wanted to compete for Black men. See the difference? Black women believe that Black men belong to them just because they're Black. They don't have to show you any respect. They don't have to show you any deference. They don't have to compete for you because you're automatically supposed to be with them just because you're Black. It's just like anything that's automatic in this world, you have no respect for it because you never had to earn it. That's why Black women do not respect Black men. Not because what Black men do, is because Black women have never had to earn their men. White women do. Any man that a white woman will go with or be with, she knows she's going to have to earn her place with him. So there's a measure of respect that she has to give him to be with him. Now, to get that kind of commitment from Black men has never had to be earned by women. So Black women have had contempt for something that she doesn't see value in. It's automatic. It's like breathing. If I can't get me an Asian man or white man or whatever man, I can always get me a Black man because he's just going to be there. And that is the thought process in most Black women's minds. Now, if anybody has ever been in any supervisory position or any leadership position, just for that particular project to function, there's a certain amount of respect that the people under you have to give you for it to work. We're not talking about prostrating fealty where you have to bow down at somebody's feet. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about worship. Just a certain amount of respect for something to work. And Black men know that to get their families to work, there's a certain amount of respect that the woman's going to have to give him. Otherwise, she is not going to work with him well. He knows that. That's why he's telling Black women, look, if you want this to work, this is what we're going to have. This is what we're going to need. And this is the problem that we're having with our relationships. For the relationship to work, you're going to have to come down a little bit, and whether it's grudgingly or not, you're going to have to give your man, your mate, a certain amount of respect. That's what men are complaining about. Because men are complaining because they want the goddamn relationships to work. They want to fix the problem. But you can't, especially in this country, you can't make women do something they don't want to do. It is what it is. Now, I'm going to answer the question, why should Black women respect Black men? And then I'm going to go into my rant. Why should black women respect black men? You should respect black men because those are the people, the men that you're in a relationship with. You are in relationship with those men, with your own man. For your relationship to work, you have to have respect for him. If you do not, your relationships will not work. That's why you have to have respect for your man. Everybody knows that when you work on a job and you have a boss, you could hate his guts. Hate his guts. But for that operation to work, every employee has to give that particular boss a certain amount of respect. Hate him or not. For the operation to work, for the business to work, for you to have a job, you're going to have to give that boss a certain amount of respect. You're going to have to respect him, whether you like it or not. It's a given. It's baked in. It's not an option. For you, black women, to have a relationship and have a black community that's going to work, you're going to have to respect your man. It's not an option. It doesn't matter what he's done. It doesn't matter what the history is. It doesn't matter about the material wealth, because trust and believe, there's people down there in Guatemala that live on dirt floors in a one-room shack with no windows and a tin roof that have nothing. And those women respect their men. Why? Because if you don't respect your man, it's not going to work. And it's going to show throughout your whole community. And guess what we see in the black community, especially today? Did you not think that this stuff was going to catch up with you? When the black feminists did not think black men were deserving of the jobs and elevation that they were going to get through civil rights, they had contempt for them. They didn't respect for them. Guess what they did? They sided with the white feminists. Guess what the white feminists did? They said, thank you very much. We'll take those jobs. We'll take those positions. We'll take this money. And we'll bring it over here. And black women are fine with it because at least he didn't get it. Because I don't feel he respects me. I don't feel he shows his loyalty to me. Even at the time, black men dated, married, and had families with over 90% of black women. 90%. The marriage rate for black men was over 90%. But we didn't love black women. We didn't respect black women. They were saying that back then in the 60s. They had contempt. Well, you didn't protect us from slavery. Like like there was a collective we in Africa, number one. And like we could do something about it when we have chains around our neck too. If you want it to work, you're going to have to give up something that you don't want to give up. You're going to have to make the hard choice. If you want it to work, whether you like him or not, or you think he's worthy or not, you're going to have to give it respect so that this thing can be fixed. And if you do not, it won't be. It's going to keep continuing to sink. That's why. Now that I've answered your questions, let me get in my rant. And this is going to be explicit. And I'm going to say it up front. Fuck your respect. You heard me. Fuck your respect. Because black men aren't saying it because they need your respect for themselves, for their own self-esteem. They don't. Men don't work that way. I told you why they need your respect, because they need to work with you. But guess what? If you do not respect your man, just like a father, I would tell my daughter, you don't need to be with him. You do not need to be with a man, mate with a man, date a man, be with a man, have families with a man that you cannot respect. Mutual respect has to be at the foundation of a relationship, point blank, period. And if you're not doing that, if you can't muster that, you're hustling backwards. Go find a man that you can respect. And if it's not black men, by all means, please go to the other side and find a man you can respect, so that black men can find women that respect him, that gives him what he needs. If the black man needs respect, he needs to go find a woman that will give him what he needs. If that's not you, you need to do what the old players used to say. You need to go outside, go to the fucking corner and kick some goddamn rocks, because you have elevated yourself to a position that you do not deserve. Black men are not vying for your goddamn respect, because at the end of the day, your respect doesn't mean very much, because you're not the one that's going to beat us upside the head. You're not the one that's going to put us in prison, even though you often facilitate that. We have to go out and earn our respect from other men. The only issue that I have with black women is that you're not giving it to your boys, because you disrespect and have such a low respect level for black males and low level contempt for black males, that you feed that stuff and put that poison into your boys, and we grow up with broken men. I know there's other people, as a conscious person, that will not like to hear me say this. If the black community was a factory, was a business, it would have been shuttered years ago. And black men are tired of keeping alive something that has a very small possibility of working. That's how come you see them leaving. Why should black women give black men respect? Because you want them to come back and be with you. And if you don't give them respect, guess where they're going to fucking go? Which is the other thing she was complaining about, that black men are with other women, or in her area where she sees that black men are with other women. Why? Because those women happen to be giving them the respect that you're not. Now, would you be with a man that's not giving you respect that you're complaining about? Maybe you can, but you're just saying that you don't respect black men. You don't see black men above contempt, and that shows up in your action, and you expect black men to be with you. The miracle is that black men have been with you this long. That's the miracle. And all races of men say that. How do you stand being with these kind of women? White women say it. How do you date people like this? And black men kind of bow our heads, kind of shrug our shoulders and say, yeah, I know what you're talking about, because we do know what they're talking about. Because it makes no logical sense to date people or date a group of women that have no respect for you, and show it and say it. Just like you are now, right now, Cynthia G. You're saying it. I have respect for you for one very good reason. You're actually saying it. Most black women lie and say, like, well, you know, even though black men haven't earned our respect, we kind of sort of respect them, and we want to be with them, and blah, blah, blah. We just kind of, we want to wait until they get better. Bullshit. Let's keep it a buck. The only reason you're with us because you ain't not got no other options. And other races of men see you treat your men like that, and guess what they feel? That you, sooner or later, you're going to treat them just like you do your own men. If you don't have respect for the men that you raise, if you do not have the respect for the men that you raise, then you can't have any respect for any man. You can't even have respect for yourself. Why? Because those are the men that you raised. Those men are in your image. They wasn't raised by white women. They wasn't raised by Native American women. They weren't raised in some forest in some black man land, and you come up and chop the crop off and bring a black man home. They were raised by you. They're raised in your image, with your values, with your attitudes. If they don't have drive and ambition or education, guess where the buck stops? These boys don't come from any other community except yours. And if you can't respect them, if they grow up and black women cannot respect their own men, that means you fucked up. And you want to put the onus all on the men. No, you fucked up because those black men came between your thighs, out of your womb. They sucked at your tit, ate at your table, which is the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. No other race of woman would ever say that about their men. Why? Because those men are a direct reflection on them. The two basic jobs that females have throughout nature, two basic jobs from a bacteria all the way up to a human being. Have and raise offspring, period. Those are two basic jobs. And if the men that come out that you're raised by can't do what you need them to do in the community, can't protect you, and not worthy of your respect, then the buck stops with you, especially in this country, because the black community has been a matriarchy for 100 years. You've been in control of the community. And we don't have to look very far because the stats are all over the place about black males and black boys. They know by the third grade which group of boys are going to prison, who's not. That's in the black community. The white teachers in the schools do not care about black boys because they know that black women don't care about them. Their mothers don't care about them. And because you can't fulfill the two jobs that are basically necessary in any community, that's why you look at the scores, you look at the reflection and see why black women are at the bottom in statistics as far as dating and mating, if you want to believe the stats. And some people have problems with it. But the thing is, every stat ain't wrong. And they're not all made up, because those stats reflect the real world. And if you can't find a way to actually operate your family with the men that you procreate with, the men that you build families with, the men that you date, the man that is sleeping in your bed, you shouldn't be with him. I would tell my daughters that. If you can't respect him, you shouldn't be with him. The question is, why are you with us? And if we do go someplace else, why do you care? You don't respect us no way. And if a man goes outside of his own comfort zone, his own cultural structure, that means he's not getting something that he needs, then he can find it someplace else. So you actually answered your own question about why black men do things, because you're constantly talking about why you date white albinoid devils, why black men date white albinoid devils. Because sometimes dating a devil is better than being where you are, because you're already in hell and you're looking for relief. And you're going to take a devil's bargain because that is the best deal that you can get. So Cynthia G, kick rocks with your respect. You don't want to give black men respect? Fine. Black women don't want to give black men respect? Fine. Own it. Say it. Proclaim it. Say, I do not respect you. I hold you with contempt. And let the chips fall where they may. Stop being motherfucking cowards. Don't date black men that you can't respect. Don't date black men that don't show you what you need to be shown. Maybe black men will correct their behavior, but you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to happen. Black men will start working and they will actually develop standards. They will actually develop a code of conduct and behaviors for their women, more like white men. And if that happens, when they turn back and look at you, you're not going to measure up. And when you don't measure up, then they're going to go someplace else. I've been through 7 long-term relationships, and I've constantly heard that shit about respect and what I'm not doing. So when I tighten myself up and I turn back around and look at that woman that's actually complaining about it, and I say, your turn, they get shook because they thought it was a one-way street. You're right. Respect is a two-way street. If you don't give it, you're not going to get it. And you don't feel them worthy of you giving them your respect, they're going to go find that respect and that love someplace else, which is what they're doing, which is something you don't like, which is something that you complain about because you don't have the ovaries enough to let the fucking chips fall where they may. Stick by your guns. Stick by your principles. Own it. And when you own it, take your wins and your losses as they come. Let the chips fall where they may. I firmly believe that black women do not measure up for the kind of men that they're asking for. There's a whole lot of reasons for that. Racism, white supremacy is a huge reason. So you keep saying that black man uses it as an excuse. So be it. Well, when the spotlight shines on you, what are you going to say? Black men have the lowest dating standards of any Western man. Lowest. In fact, that's why they call black men the garbage men of the dating arena. They call us the cleanup men. Out of wedlock births, check. Baby mamas, check. Ratchet women, check. Fat women, check. Ugly women, check. Disrespectful women, check. Women with attitudes, check, 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 check. Things that most men would not accept in their mates, we accept. Other races of women tell us that all the time. Why do you accept this crap from your women? The answer is we're raised that way. That's what we're used to. Black women have a gift and they spit on it constantly. Black men are tired of being spit on. So that's why you're hearing it. What you're hearing is complaints about why things aren't working. That needs to be changed. And like most times, black women do not want to change. Give me a reason to change. No doggone it. In fact, no goddamn it. Not giving you a goddamn reason to change. If you ain't got the goods, you don't have respect for us, guess what? Kick motherfucking rocks. Go give that disrespect, that contempt to somebody else. Like I say, go over on the other side and help the goddamn bear. We'll have a better chance. If you hinder the bear like you hinder us, we'll probably have a better chance of winning. Save yourself, black man. This is the kind of woman that you have to deal with. And she's being honest because she reflects what black women think. What black women feel and think, and they won't say. They want worship, but they don't want to give you a modicum of respect. Are you fucking kidding me? That's all I got. I think I've ranted enough. This is my response to Cynthia G's video. Go look for yourself. Hers was only 10 minutes. I had to cook it a little bit and flavor it a little bit, so mine's is longer. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. This is BGS out. And I will see you guys on the next one.